What's up, guys? It's Vast here, and today I'm going to be reacting to the latest People Make Games video on Entropia Universe. So I had the pleasure of being a part of this wonderful project. I have been DM'd today about, I woke up this morning about 30 DMs about what did I tell them, yada 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 yada. I've seen snippets of it. I have not seen it all. Let's get into it. So the title is, Can You Really Get Rich in the World's Only Cash-Based MMO? Let's see what he says.
All we want to do in this video is explain to you a video game called Entropia Universe, which looks like a perfectly normal, massively multiplayer game. It is not that. If you are at all interested in the economics, history, or just weird trivia of video games, buckle up. It's gonna be a wild ride, but just
The one thing I have to say about that intro is Entropia Universe is just another MMO with a cash-based element. And
I may have some apprehension about how Entropia is designed. I want to stress that Entropia's community of players were nothing but kind and helpful and generous to me during the course of my research, and it is clear that many of them.
So I just want to make this clear. I am a part of this. I've been told by the creator Quinns that I was the only one with an audio cameo. And I know Maury, Bonnie, and JBK were all interviewed, and I'm not sure of others. So let's see what else they say.
Those people just see Entropia as a harmless bit of fun. Okay, let's get started. Entropia Universe launched in 2003 as the world's only cash-based MMO. The difference between Entropia and other MMOs is that where lots of online games let you pay the developers some real-life cash for extra pretend money in the game, Entropia Universe is the only game where you can also wire money that your character has back out into the real world. There's even a fixed exchange rate.
Man, I just gotta say, this production value is really good. He's saying some very introductory stuff right now, but it is 2 minutes into the video. So, but overall, I'm very impressed with the production quality on this video for sure.
Planet Entropia dollars is $1 US. So, if your character shoots and kills a cyber vixen, yes, that's a real enemy, and finds a gun worth 10 Planet Entropia dollars, you could request a withdrawal of your PED from Mindark, and after waiting just a few months, you would get $1 human US in your bank account. Or you would if there wasn't a withdrawal fee of 1% and a minimum withdrawal amount of $100 US, but you get the idea. The Entropia players that I spoke to were adamant that the excitement and the headlines that this system creates are the reason Entropia has.
So the headlines, yeah, a lot of people get into Entropia Universe from videos like this one. So, there's a very popular video on the highest highest valued items ever sold online, and for the longest time only 5 or 6, I think almost all of them were Entropia. So but yeah, a lot of people got into a game because of content and media, because who's gonna find a game like this out in the wild?
Survived for the last 20 years, and why 58,000 people are still playing it today. For
this is a long video, so I don't want to pause too much, but 58,000 people? I'd be interested in seeing where he got those numbers, because that's interesting, because I didn't even know that.
For example, in 2013, a Norwegian player called Alan shot a monster and $33,000 worth of loot fell out. In fact, before games started using block.
So, I think he's talking on the number one ATH. I think it was from a Molman from, yeah, I don't know why he highlighted that. Okay. If I recall correctly, it is from a Molman, which is a seasonal mob, so that's Alright.
Chain technology in 2017 to make players feel more secure in buying virtual goods. Of the top 5 most expensive virtual items ever sold in the history of games, all 5 were from Entropia Universe. They were a planet, a nightclub, a moon, a space station, and a very, 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 very fancy egg.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say something about this because it's insane. Headlines exist for a reason. It's interesting.
Players were willing to fork out these outrageous sums because in a real cash MMO, having the best assets doesn't just make your character more powerful and prestigious. It helps to make them richer, which makes you, a player, richer.
Okay. Okay. I want to see how he gets on with that, because that doesn't, from a veterans player's perspective, that doesn't make any sense. But okay.
I spoke to players who have invested tens of thousands of dollars into stuff in this game because to them...
Hold up. Julian McBain, I love the fact that he is completely using a bunch of content created by the community, but he used Julian McBain flying his Sleipnir, his $2 thing, as the millions invested. Okay. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's kind of ironic knowing the kind of content Julian makes. But that's awesome. I love that he's
It's more
using
valuable than investing in real life property. So let's recap. Players in Entropia seem to be making money. The developers must be making money because the game's still being expanded and the servers are still on. Oh, and the entire game is free to play. But that...
Okay, so yes, the game is free to play. No, it is highly recommended by the community to only pay for to treat the game like a subscription service, like $15 a month, like you would throw it at WoW. It's the only way to play responsibly and have a really good time. You can still play a lot and have a really fun time with it. And since I'm starting Facecam now, I think I'm gonna start doing showing you how I would do a $15 a month deposit as somebody who has the knowledge that I do, and I'm gonna go the full month and do it like that. So we'll see what else he says. We have a Mori clip. I think this is the clip of his withdrawal, if I recall.
That money has to be coming from somewhere, right? Behind the glitzy headlines, behind every winner, somewhere there has to be a loser. So let's see if we can figure out who's losing money by going through some of the different types of players in Entropia.
Everybody.
The following is in no way descriptive of everything you can do in Entropia because this game is massive. My goodness. I was briefly in a Discord channel with someone who made a lot of money cornering the market manufacturing mankinis.
Alright, so that's what the mankini looks like, everyone. They're selling for approximately 20 ped. Whoa! 184! Holy sh!
But dividing the different players into broad archetypes is definitely the fastest way to bring you up to speed with how Entropia works. So let's do it. And let's start with the bottom feeders of this particular fish tank. I said you could play Entropia for free. I didn't say you'd like it. For a deposit of $0, your character can work as a sweater, running up to...
So in the Discord discussion, I gave him my numbers that we did like 4.5, 5 hours of interviews. I know I gave him my in total over the span of a long time. I think I gave him the generic 300 an hour because that's on average what you get. You can get way above that with like concentration buffs and staying constantly healed and not dying and whatever else, but that's just not a thing in real life. It was a concentrated experiment and we got like 450 an hour.
The dangerous monsters and literally hoovering sweat off them with 10,000 bottles of monster sweat collected over 30 hours of play, selling for $1 American. Although if you deduct the electricity your computer uses in 30 hours, you technically only made 57 cents. Or
Where do you get that number? Interesting. Okay.
just under 2 cents an hour. But wait, there's more. If you want to play for free, you can also run around the world collecting fruit and poop from the floor. Let me say that again. If you want to play Entropia for free, you're very welcome to sell turds on the open market. These players might be losing their dignity, but I don't think they're losing any money, so let's move on. Gamblers make up the majority of players in Entropia.
What? I love the fact that he is taking community clips and showing off the game, but the most ironic clips he's using, and I'm sure it's just ignorance, but it's so funny as somebody in the Entropia YouTube space seeing Serial Overdrive and a snippet on gambling. Okay.
These are the players who put money into the game to buy the gear
Cloak and
required to
daggers,
hunt or
okay.
mine or craft. And they're called gamblers because while Entropia has grown by celebrating the players who strike it rich, the reality is that the core of the game is structured like a casino.
No. I'm sure a lot of people will say otherwise. The game is not gambling. The game is what you make of it. Yes, there are gambling options. It is a very, very, I guess, slang term that you're a gambler, you cycle a lot of peds, but no.
In a casino, all games of chance have something called a house edge, which means that statistically, over a long enough time, the casino will always pay out less money than it takes in. For example, most real-life slot machines have a payback percentage of between 90% and 97%, and it's exactly the same in Entropia. All of the main ways you can play the game, hunting, mining, and crafting, cost money, and they have a negative return of between 90% and 96%. So,
Okay. Yes, that is true. In the long run, you will get about 90 to 96%. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just outside looking in, but it's weird. I mean, you can definitely see, you cannot deny there are gambling tendencies in the game, but you can play smart like a lot of people do and not be a gambler. There's so many people that only spend so much money in the game and have a great time. Treat it like a game. I'm going to say this over and over again.
if you, as a new player, buy all of the guns and bullets and armor that is required to hunt cool monsters, and then you use that equipment until it's gone, that, if you paid $10 for it, might get you an average of $9 worth of loot back. You might get more, you might get less, but on average, you'll get $9. So that kind of answers our question. Who's losing money in Entropia Universe? The answer is anyone playing it on average. But this rabbit hole we're in goes a lot deeper. In the words of one player I spoke to, it's true that you can't make money playing Entropia, but you can make money from the players.
Yeah, I said this. I will say this again. You can make money from other players by offering them services like motherships, and not even motherships, even taxi services. You make a little bit of money on offering. Renting out a shop is one of the best ways to make a little bit of income, because you don't, when you spend money, when you click anything that is provided by MindArc, you will spend money. I'm interested to see
When you see the number of players in Entropia willing to wipe sweat from scorpions for pennies, it should come as no surprise that plenty of players in Entropia will rob you if they get the chance.
Plenty? Okay. I definitely don't. There's not an overwhelming amount of scammers, especially in the high level community, because everybody knows each other. And your reputation is the biggest thing in this game, because everything's worth real money. If your reputation is shoot, you can't do really anything with players.
there were two scams that Entropia players warned me about over and over and over again. And the first was players trying to sell you something for drastically more than it's worth. Which is possible because this is not only an MMO, a genre designed to be as sprawling and complicated as possible to keep players interested over the years, but this is an old MMO, which has had patches on top of expansions on top.
The Mind Arc has done really good the past few years in making the game more accessible. Like AR matrix, weapons, markup windows. Like, they've done a lot to make the game better in a lot of ways. And I think that the patches that he's speaking of are true, but when I started in 2010, this game is not the same as it used to be.
Of hot fixes where new players will always look to veterans for advice on what anything is. The other type of scam I heard about was a confidence scam, where players would make friends with you over weeks or months, would eventually ask to borrow something, perhaps offering to upgrade it for you using their skills for free, and then just never give that item back. But
yeah, all trades are final. I mean, if you give somebody like tier upgrade something, have collateral no matter what. That's all I have to say. And there's no in between. If you don't have the ability to give collateral, you should probably just tier it up yourself. That's all I have to say. Or whatever else. If you have to do whatever it is, if you have the ability to rent something, it's probably better just to buy it and sell it out later because of trust and just people not giving any items back. That's my stance on rented items, but other people may disagree with me.
one very high-level player told me that when you really have to be on your toes is when you get an asset in the game worth 5,000 US dollars.
50,000 is when people try to shark you and try.
Oh, that's me. This was an example I gave. What? I think he took this kind of out of context. I don't remember. This was like 2 months ago when I said this. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Make money off you. The highest level people in the game will try and just stab you in the back.
Okay, so I want to clarify this statement right here. This was a statement given in like an hour and a half statement. Of course, Quinns is based. He was based in Britain, and I'm based in Central Standard Time, obviously. And I got up at like 4 a.m. multiple times to help with this project. But that's not excusing what I just said. Clarify this. There was context in between. I was giving him an example on popular assets. So like equises, privateers, shops, whatever else. Heck, even a mod fab. I was giving him, if you have like some arbitrary number, I said 50,000. And there was like 2 or 3 statements beforehand where it doesn't even matter. People will stab you in the back for sweat. If you really, if you're smart, you won't get scammed. But I was saying that as somebody who offers services, to not just trust everybody, because people will try to take advantage of you. All trades are final. That being said, you're not going to get taken advantage of if you know what to look out for and realize that all trades are final. And when you click accept, sometimes it just doesn't work out. That being said, I don't feel like I feel like this is taken completely out of context. I'm gonna have to comment on the video just to clarify before this comes up, because that makes me look bad for saying that.
I can at least understand scammers trying to make a quick buck when playing the game for free, otherwise offers such garbage margins. No, the players who really scare me are the Ubers.
Why are you scared of the Ubers, man?
Ubers is the community's nickname for extraordinarily high-level players. These people regularly top the game's Hall of Fame where the biggest jackpots are recorded, and they have the skills and gear to enjoy the best odds.
You know, that's the first, like, actual clip that they've used that, like, is, like, relevant. He's getting hoffed on Eamon. Okay, yeah. That's the first clip they've used. That's, like, somewhat relevant. That's actually funny to me. Sorry.
When they gamble. So in this pseudo casino, you can think of them as the high rollers. A term I heard a lot of high-level Entropia players speak of with pride is how many Planet Entropia dollars they cycle in a given year, which means how many PED they spend doing stuff in the game. Because most activities in Entropia lose you money, there's prestige in saying you cycled 10 million PED last year, because it means you're such a good player that you could afford to spend the equivalent of $1 million US in this game because you got roughly the same amount of money back. If this performative culture...
So the one thing I will say about huge cycles is that they are not necessarily a good thing. They can be a detriment to your health if you're not doing it correctly. I think that there is prestige in cycling, but it's not as much as he says it is. I mean, yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's just a penis measuring contest. That's all it is. There's nothing. I mean,
with Ubers
nothing.
Trying to outdo one another to appear on high scoreboards sounds like it could be quite expensive for them and quite profitable for Mindark. You might be right. One player I spoke to described Ubers as the backbone of Mindark's income. But in general, as I was exploring Entropia, I couldn't help but notice all of the ways the game makes it very easy to start gambling, but harder to cash back out. For example, if you put money into Entropia, that is in your account in 2 to 3 days. But if you want to cash out, I asked one high-level player how long it would take them to sell all of their assets, and they told me 2 months or maybe as long as 6 months if you were a really dedicated reseller. And then when you request that money leaves the game and goes into your account, you could be waiting another 6 months. I was also quite disturbed by something I read.
So 6 months is generally, like, with business days, because they do a 55 business day thing. 6 months is kind of a higher number. Especially if you're a big reseller and they audit you and they go through all the logs and see, because I've heard of people getting banned trying to withdraw after doing things against the EULA. But that's interesting. I didn't necessarily know that. Now, I will say, if you have a lot of assets, let's say you have a mod fap, you have a Equus, you have a lot of items in the game, could definitely take you 2 to 3 months to sell that. 6 months if you have, like, unlimited mining amps and you're in tons of, like, niche items for sure, like a reseller would. I mean, I don't see any. If you had like 100k worth of stuff, 100k PEDs, I could definitely see it taking you 3 to 4 months to sell certain things. Or
in the game's end user license agreement, which stated that if a player doesn't log in for 365 days, their character and their skills are deleted, which can't make it easy to stop gambling, can it? However, there is a way to reliably generate massive income for your avatar in Entropia without ripping anyone off. It just doesn't necessarily involve playing the game. The option of investing in Entropia first appeared in 2004 when Mindark put it.
Okay. Deeds are one of the best options to get into the game for sure. Is he going to be talking about Treasure Island? Because they weren't really readily available to Calypso land deeds, so we'll see.
a new island in the game world up for sale in an auction lasting months, which was won by a player called David Story for $26,500 US. David was then able to sell homes on that island to other players, as well as tax anyone who was hunting or mining on his land. So, not only did the island instantly start generating massive revenue for David, it was printing so much money that in just a few years, this property that David had paid $26,000 for was valued at over $100,000 US. And this was massive for Mindark because not only did it give the game a bunch of free publicity, it carried the implication that if you start playing Entropia Universe, you could get rich too. But of course, that's not what was happening. There's an Economics Explained video on Entropia Universe that describes it perfectly.
These video game investors are basically buying a portion of the casinos that they will operate and profit from themselves, which for a lot of players has turned out very, very well.
A distinction that even today, Mindark is in no hurry to clear up. If you make a new character in the game today, during the tutorial, if you ask an NPC about investments, they'll tell you that the real investment is in your character's skills. That is a massively misleading comment to make in a game.
What? Okay. That's just an ignorant statement. Literally everything from your looter levels to like your evade levels, the higher you are in the game, the better the experience is. I definitely agree. The best investment is in your character, and then is deeds, because certain things you just can't do as a level 0 noob with 88 HP. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I mean, I feel like he doesn't. He's like outside looking in like a puppy. Like we're the puppies and he's looking at the shop. Like that's what it feels like to me at this point.
Filled with literal investment opportunities. I mean, what else does this NPC have to say? Is the real wealth the friends will make along the way? Since Mindark sold that first island in 2004, more and more of Entropia has been sold to players. In addition to parceling out more of the game's land, Mindark has sold shopping malls, space stations, more than a dozen motherships that can fly players between the game's planets acting as an interplanetary bus service, licenses for players to open banks, which are functionally pawn shops, and Mindark also created items called land deeds, which confusingly aren't land at all, but are in fact stocks in the revenue.
Yeah, you can also have estate area deeds and straight up land area deeds. There are Calypso land deeds, there are Arcadia Underground deeds, there are Arcadia Moon deeds. Compat's defunct, don't buy those. They really should make those untradeable, if anything. And then the actual and those are like legacy. I guess you'd consider them legacy now because of the Pedflow exchange. Because you have the Entropia exchange now, which is functionally a stock market in a GUI.
Of one of Entropia's planets. And you think that's nuts? In 2014,